Character and self-talk is the story we're telling ourselves. And we're all telling ourselves a story. We tell one story to support another story. So we have the story of who we are. And we tell other stories to support this idea of who we are, who we say we are, how we look at the world. This is called narrative bias. And it's either true, it's either self-serving, or it's not. What story are you telling yourself? The true story of your happiness, or the false story that has you backsliding into mediocrity? Peace. I'm Travis Odewell. It's Pure Sound Daily Business. I want to continue to talk about why character and self-talk is important. So these are pretty well established psychological phenomena. These are well established ways your brain works. In what I've found in my study, and this is an area that I'm going to continue to develop my expertise in, so it can become a skill and it can be part of what I'm going to be the best in the world at, of helping people be the author of their own story, of their life. And it all comes down to narrative bias. And this is the concept that our minds are constructing a narrative, a story of who we are in the world we live in. And we need consistency. We need integrity. We need a solidness to our story, just to function. And when there are things outside of our story, we tell other stories, either about those things or to ourselves, so that our own story can stay consistent. Now, this is where it's happened into, there's a lot of cliches that go into this. What's coming to mind right now is we only change when the pain of staying the same is greater than the pain of change. So how does this apply to a story? It's when the pain gets to be so great that we can't lie to ourselves anymore. We can't tell ourselves a story of, it ain't that bad. Things are going to change. You don't have to worry about it. This is okay. This is where I'm supposed to be. This is just where I'm at now. I'm comfortable here. I don't want that much anyway. I'm settling. I'm comfortable. This feels good. All I need is a little bit of peace here and there. The security of staying in the job, the security of staying in this relationship, the security and the comfort of me just being who I always have been. When your day in, day out is more painful to deal with that sameness, when it's more painful to do that, that's when change happens by you or by life. That's what mental maladies are all about. When we get hit with depression, or we get hit with deep anxiety, being anxious day in and day out, panic attacks. I take this all into, this is the slow backsliding into mediocrity. And when you hit mediocrity and you begin to accept mediocrity, that's when it goes deeper into hopelessness, which is all different types of things: depression, hopelessness, being in survival mode, emotionalism. All sorts of things come out of this. Now, we're talking about the self-imposed here. Talking about being an adult. Talking about, what I'm talking about. If you need deeper help with traumas, being victimized by someone or something, society, situations, it's not what we're talking about here. We're talking about, for me, is I've cleaned up the wreckage of my past. I've cleaned up that story I was telling myself. The story of, and this was subconscious, mind you. These are the thoughts I didn't know I was thinking. The story of abandonment because not having a father in my life. And going throughout my youth with that seated inside of me and having doubts on if people were going to be there for me, if I was good enough. Needing to prove myself, and not the good way. Because I still have that with me today. I have something to prove. To myself, mainly. To myself, my concept of a creator, of a higher power, and what I'm here to do. That's not what it was then. It was I had something to prove. I wanted attention. I wanted connection, but didn't quite know how to do it. Personality type, INTJ problems, hashtag. But this is where psychological type really helped me uncover a lot of not only the stories, because I was on that journey from getting sober, reaching a bottom. That's what we're talking about. When we say backsliding, you're backsliding towards your bottom. As we say in those 12-step rooms, if you hit bottom, don't keep digging. That's what we're talking about. The story we tell ourselves is we hit bottom and we keep digging with other stories to say, no, we don't need to change. Keep digging ourselves into a hole. No, this isn't mediocrity. This is just status quo. This is just the way things are, right? And any change is a crisis for our senses. We get comfortable. We get comfortable with the story we've told ourselves. Another word we would use, especially when we're talking about story and you being the author of your story, is conflict. There has to be conflict in a story. Otherwise, it's boring. And our brains are lazy, which also means boring. Because we just want to do what we used to doing. Why? Because we have grooves called neural pathways that move quick. And it takes work to dig a new neural pathway. This is all narrative. It's all story. What story are you telling yourself? Self-serving language, self-serving stories. And this is where not only I have an expertise in, because as I mentioned earlier, I had a lot of subconscious, I had a lot of thoughts I didn't know I was thinking. And when I uncovered those, I had to do a lot of work with the self-talk. I definitely had to work on this so I could be here speaking in your ear right now. The long journey that was. and continue to uncover things. So this is where I'm not only having expertise for myself, I'm working to build a mastery to help others. And we take it all down to the story you're telling yourself. But this is where your character is so important. Because who are you telling yourself you are? I hear a lot of people saying a lot of things. I mean, we could just go to extremes, right? Someone that has real savage talk. I spoke on this the other day when I was using. It was just where the party at, where the girls at. Chasing pleasure. Drinking, want to feel something. Want to have fun. Nothing wrong with these things inherently. But it's just when that's all my mind is looking for is that dopamine hit. Yeah, that's a problem. So this is where, if you heard me back in the day, I talked a lot of stuff, but to those who know, they know, man, this guy got a savage mind. He needs some help. It's when you get on the other side and you hear people speak, you can tell. It's you being in your own head where we need outside help. Need coaches and teachers, mentors. So this is why character and self-talk is important. Because I believe, spiritually speaking, and again, spiritually just being the deep unconscious part of ourselves, the soul being the mind, the spirit being the deep unconscious. So we're talking spiritually, soulfully. It's all about the story you're telling yourself. That's why who you say you are, why you say it, what do you want to do, where do you want to be, and where you at right now is so important with keeping that integral to your character. So make sure you are who you say you are, and that you're serious about being who you're supposed to be. And how are you supporting that with your self-talk? Travis Soda Well, it's Pure Sound Daily Business. Peace.